Hi everybody. I just wanted to pop on. As you can tell, it's my first live on my channel. I wanted to pop on because with the heat and eat situation at the moment, um, I felt obligated to come up with a menu and come up with some recipes. I know how to cook pretty cheap anyway, but um, I decided to show other people because there are 2 point, no, sorry, 4.3 million children at the moment living below or just on the poverty line, um, which equates to roughly 2 out of every 5 children at the moment are literally starving to death. Um, so I decided that I was going to do some recipes, buy some shopping, do some recipes, and obviously do you a menu or whatever to try and combat the heat and eat situation. But that'll be in the next live that I do. This live at the moment, I just want to bring in some facts because I think the government, with Rishi Sunak's announcement, I just want to bring in some facts of just how out of order he is, because obviously he's hitting the working class. Me being a working class girl, working 18 years of my life, I just feel that we're being unfairly targeted, um, and I'm trying to bring the government to account for everything that they're doing at the moment. Um, and the fact that 2 in 5 children are literally starving to death is disgraceful. But obviously in April, that is going to go up. So I just want to do this live with some figures, and then the next one I will actually put up a video of me doing some recipes um, and cooking and trying to teach you guys some money saving tips, and how to live pretty cheap and how to feed a family of four on £25 a week. But let's just get on with the figures for now. Um, I checked the number of elderly people on the 17th of the 3rd, how many were living below the poverty line, and it said that it's gone up 200,000 alone in 1 year. That's in 1 year, um, since 2021. Um, it's gone up 200,000 more um, elderly. And the most shocking thing that I found out is that there is a 17-year difference, 17 years life expand difference between the rich and the poor elderly. So the rich elderly are living 17 more years longer than the poor elderly, simply because of food, simply because of heating, and money issues and all of that sort of thing. So the rich, um, or well off elderly are living 17 years longer. Um, Now, that in itself is disgraceful, um, especially seeing as most of the poor working class elderly would have worked most of their lives to retire at 65, um, and then they're dying 17 years earlier than their rich um, elderly, and they obviously can't enjoy retirement because they're dead. Um, so yeah, that is disgraceful. Um, at the moment, there's 4.3 million children in poverty, on or below the poverty line. Um, in April, that's currently 31% of children living on or below the poverty line at the moment. But in April, when the heat and heat situation gets a lot worse and inflation and everything comes in, there will be another 1.5 million extra children living on or below the poverty line. And that will include the middle class, the working class, the middle class. For the first time in history, the middle class is actually going to be suffering, because we're not all millionaires, or elites or anything like that. And when that does come in April, the poverty rate will shoot up from 31% to over 62%. So it will near enough double. And some rates for you. Households with 3 or more children will lose around 5,600 in a year. 5,600. That is disgraceful. That works out as £25 a week over 52 weeks, works out as 1,300. Now, the reason I've done that calculation is because I am able to feed a family of 4 on £25 a week. So £25 a week times 54 is 1,300, and they're actually going to be taking 5,600 off households with 3 or more children. So the poverty with children is going to get a lot worse, especially if there's 3 children in that family. 3. So it won't just be 1 starving to death, it will be 3. Now that is disgraceful. I don't know how Rishi Sunak sleeps at night. I don't know how Boris Johnson's sleeping at night. Actually, no, I do know how they sleep at night. They've got big fat bank accounts. They're millionaires, so they don't have to worry about any of this crap. And I will tell you just how much money they have in a minute. But with the money that they're the 5,600 that they'll be taking from one family with 3 kids in it, they would have enough to feed 4 families on 25 quid a week. So therefore, that's 12 people. No, 4, 8, 12, 16 people being fed on the money that they're taking from one family. And there's two out of every 5 kids starving to death, and yet they haven't got the money to give to them. Disabled households with 1 disabled adult and 1 disabled child will lose over 6,500. So they're taking even more from the more vulnerable, because these people are disabled. So they're going to be taking even more from the vulnerable, and these people need their money because they need their money, carers or whatever, and they're taking 6,500 off of them per year. That is disgraceful. Lone parent households, such as myself, we will lose £433 a month. That is £100 a week. So that could be up to £100 a week. That obviously depends whether you can afford to lose that. Nobody can afford to lose £433 unless you're Rishi Sunak or his wife or Boris Johnson or Jacob Rees-Mogg or any of the other millionaire politicians. But they're going to be taking £433 off lone parent households. Obviously, if you've only got 1 kid, it'll be less than that, because if they take the £400 away, you can't feed your kid as such, because it'll be their money and your money gone. But obviously, if you've got more than 1 kid, they will deem, they're getting paid too much, bam. And you'll have to feed 3 kids or 4 kids or whatever on 1 kid's money, which is disgraceful, really, to be honest. And it'll mean more children go into poverty. And instead of it being 2 in 5, it'll be 3 in 5 or 4 in 5 kids in poverty. And lone single women will lose £400 a year, which works out roughly £40 a month. But this is where inequality comes in, because this is why it's great to be a woman in the UK. Because if you're a single woman in the UK, you lose £400 a month. But if you're a man in the UK, a single man in the UK, you only lose £30 a year. But if you're a woman, you lose £400 a year. I think all us women should identify as men. Then they can only take £30 off of us. There's no such thing as equality when they're doing that. But if you identify as a man, you only get £30 taken off you. So maybe we should all do that. Now, I just want to move on to the rich list. Now, the man in charge of the budget that's taking all this money off people, Rishi Sunak, his net worth is actually £200 million. His personal net worth. That's him alone. His wife net worth is 430 million. They have a joint property portfolio worth £350 million. And her stake in her father's banking business is 185 million. Now, this is the man they have put in charge of the budget and making life easier for the working class. Unfortunately, he does not know what it's like to struggle or be on benefits or be on 0 hours contract or, be working 60 hours a week and still having to use food banks, which is disgraceful. He has £200 million in the bank. So he's probably never going to experience it. Putting him in charge of other people's lives is not a good idea, because he has no comprehension of what we go through. But he doesn't have to, because he's got 200 million. Boris Johnson, his net worth is £2 million. 2.2 million to be precise. So again, he's not struggling either. His wife Carrie has £500,000, even though her wages are 50,000 a year. Her actual net worth is showing up as 500,000. So she won't be broke anytime soon. Keir Starmer, Labour of the opposition. Now, remember, Labour are supposed to be the working class party, the one that the working class can always trust. They fight for working class rights, they protect us, etc., etc., etc. Keir Starmer has between £1 million and £5 million. Not quite working class money, is it? Then some of the richest MPs have like billions or 860 million, etc., etc. An ex-politician, Tony Blair, has £30 million, and 7 out of the top 20 rich list of politicians, 7 of them are Labour. So for a party that claims that they represent the working class, considering that they're all millionaires, or 7 out of 20 of the rich list are millionaires, I don't think they can claim that anymore, can they? Sajid Javid, remember him? The guy that wants to jab everybody and wants to stick needles in your arm all the time and lock you down. Yeah, he's worth £8 million. £8 million. And I wonder where he got that money from. Could it be all the jabs? I'm not sure, but it could be. Priti Patel. She's showing up as 2.2 million. Now, Nadeem Zawari, the one that wanted to keep the masks on the children in class, he's worth £100 million. 100 million. No wonder why he wanted the pandemic to go on. Corrupt such and such. I bet he's corrupt. That sort of money, where'd you get it from? Where do you get that money from? When you're just on an MP salary of £81,000, where do you get 100 million from? Something doesn't add up, does it? I'm not a mathematician, but something don't quite add up. And when the MPs claim that they are, I understand the working class because they're not on the best wages. Here comes the kicker. MPs' wages are showing up as average of 81,932 basic wage. MPs' expenses, now the working class, we have to pay our own rent. So we have to go to work, we have to earn our own money, and out of our own wages, we then have to use that money to pay our rent. However, with MPs, they get the rent paid by us, the working class, the ones that pay the fucking taxes. Yeah. This is how much they can claim on expenses. Accommodation. They're allowed inside London for the rent. They're allowed to claim £23,010. That's in one house. They got two. If they own a house outside London or rent a house outside London, they're allowed to have 16,120. And on their actual own house, so if they have a property outside London, a property inside London, and one of them is their own house, they're allowed to also ask for £5,410. So their mortgage is being paid too, plus they're having rent paid for another property of 23,000. But that 23,000 is a working class person's wage. Make up your mind about that. Added to their expenses, they're allowed to set up an office and employ staff. The amount that they're allowed to do that with is £28,800 to set up their office and pay somebody, which is a lot of money. Their wages have doubled since 1997, the average wage for an MP was 43,860, and now it is 81,932, which means it's near enough doubled. And whilst everybody else's wages have stayed the same or gone down, theirs has doubled. So, yeah, who's getting a good deal here? And London area living allowance, they're allowed £4,090. That's just living allowance. Now, does anybody else get living allowance with their jobs? Unless they're prison guards or whatever. Not many people. This is a good one. You're going to love this. Petrol allowance. Now, they're allowed to claim petrol allowance. Now, where the petrol has gone up, and stuff, and then Rishi Sunak the other day went, I'll be clever. What I'll do is I'll drop it by 5p, which is what it was on Monday, and then that's all the people can have. However, MPs are allowed to claim on their expenses 45p a mile. So not only are they saving because it went in a week, went up 5p, and now it's gone down 5p within a week. So they're saving everybody 5p, but really they're not. They just put it up to take it down. So they get 5p back plus 45p every month. Who else can do that? No one else. So of course they can change the petrol prices. Also, when everybody else's heating bills have gone up, they are, and we have to pay out our own money, they are allowed to ask for £300 a month towards their heating. And every other person has to go to work or pay it through benefits or whatever. And there's a fuel and a heat and eat crisis, and they're allowed to claim £300 a month. So basically, the heating crisis isn't going to hurt them because they're getting £300 a month. So it's not going to affect them. So they're not going to campaign for change, and they're not going to, which is why I'm campaigning for change, because I already know that there's 2 out of 5 kids suffering with food at the moment. If the heating goes up, imagine how many are going to be pushed into heating crisis as well. And children are our future. I've got a young son myself, and I love him to bits. But they're allowed £300 a month for heating. No wonder why they don't care about the heating and eating situation. And as I previously said, they're allowed £25 a day. £25 a day for food. So if they're going out to try a fancy restaurant, they're allowed to use £25 a day or claim £25 a day. Now, if one MP gave up £25 a day, that MP would be saving a family of 4. They would be feeding a family of 4 for a week. I know this because I did a shop. I did a shop at Lidl's because I found Lidl's is the cheapest, I'm not going to lie. Obviously, there are other supermarkets that have value ranges, which can be the similar price. But I like shopping at Lidl's anyway. And they do a fruit and veg box, which I really enjoy, because the fruit and veg box is you can get so many fruit and veg, mix and match. You don't get a choice of what's in there, but it's like the wonky vegetables that you get in supermarkets. They put it in this fruit and veg box, and then you go and you pay £1.50 and you get whatever. I had 12 bananas, I had a couple of peaches, a couple of apples, some oranges, some cabbage, some beetroot, some onions, and some potatoes in mine, and a few other little bits. And they helped me because I was making banana pancakes and everything with them. So they are pretty good. So you can feed a family of 4 on £25 a week, which will be my next episode. On my next video that I'll be doing. But yeah, if they gave up one day's worth of allowance for food, they could feed a whole family of 4 for a week. So what does that tell you? How unequal we all are. That's what it says, unequal. We're all going to suffer. We're all going to eat bug burgers. Well, I'm not, because I have to cook, but there could be people eating bug burgers. People are going to be freezing to death. And they're all just going to be sitting there. Rishi Sunak with his £200 million. I hope the banks crash, Rishi. I hope the banks crash. And when they crash, all your money goes. And then you'll know what it feels like to be on the breadline. But yeah, he ain't going to realise, Boris ain't going to realise, none of them are going to realise. They don't really care about anybody because they're all millionaires and they're all sitting there pretty. But I'm doing this because I'm trying to save some children from starving to death. And I'm trying to show that I actually care. And I'm going to be leading the way. And I'm going to be showing you guys recipes or putting up videos of recipes regarding this. But also my channel is going to be me dancing around the kitchen like a lunatic to the radio. So I'm going to be having Backstreet Boys on there. I'm going to be having Westlife on there. I'm going to be having Bon Jovi on there. I'm going to be having other artists like Take That and Oasis and all of them, and I'm going to be putting their music on, and I'm going to be dancing around the kitchen, probably singing along a little bit. Not that I have the best singing voice or anything, but I'll be doing a bit of singing, um, and chopping up vegetables or preparing the meals and showing you guys how to live cheaply, do it on a budget, get some exercise because you'll be dancing around the kitchen with me, hopefully, or just stand there looking at me like a lunatic. Um, and I will be um, trying to bring up people's mental health because after the last 2 years, um, the health crisis has more than doubled. Um, People have taken their own lives. People have really, really suffered during this pandemic. And I've started this channel to not only look after your bodies, um, but your wealth, because you'll be able to make cheaper food. Once you like, I made onion bhajis the other day for 40p, and in the shop we buy for £1.60. But if you do them the way that I do it, you're saving about 80 pence. So you're going to be a lot richer. You're going to be healthier because we'll be dancing around the kitchen together, and a lot happier because dancing and things like that release endorphins, which make you happier. Um, so yeah, that'll be next as of the next episode. Anyway, bye for now.